Larry Kramer. I'm the chairman of the pulpit committee at Crossroads Church. We're looking for a pastor. And he said, we've heard a lot of good things about you. And I'm like, you talking to me? I mean, I'm the guy that just walked out of the church and left this church. He said, we've heard a lot of good things about you, and we'd like to have you come preach for us. So in November of 1992, I began to preach there. We were having good services with the people, and they voted on me. And friends, listen, I don't know if it was to the day, but it was close. From the time that I walked out of that church in Struthers, they voted me in at Crossroads Church to be their first pastor. Brand new church building, beautiful. I was their first pastor. Now listen to this. 2 years down the road, remember I was in that other church for 2 years. God has makeup exams. When God brings a test your way and you fail it, He has makeup exams. 2 years down the road in Crossroads, somebody comes to me and says, listen, they're doing a phone campaign against you. They want to vote you out. When I heard that, I remember in my office, I stood at the windows just looking out, and everything inside me wanted to run and just leave. Again, when God brings a test your way, if you fail it, He has a makeup exam. And something inside said, if you run, you will run for the rest of your life. And right there, I made a vow. I'm going to dig my heels in. I'm not running. They're either going to have, I said that in the 5th year. But I dug my heels in and I got voted in. I got voted in for the next 2 years, coming into the 5th year. And this was, you have to understand this church because there was a lot of strong politics in this church. When they were trying to get a pastor in, one of the family members had a family member that they wanted to get in, and I got voted in, and they took it as a personal vendetta against me, and they tried to get me voted out every year. The last year, there was a retired Church of God pastor who was attending the church, and he called me off to the side. He said, listen, it's in the cards. They're voting you out, man. He said, why don't you resign the church, leave with your head held high, and leave on your own terms. I said, listen, I did that some years ago, and I made a promise to God I would never leave when the heat was on again. You want to know something? These are my exact words. I said, they're either going to have to kill me or vote me out. I'm not leaving. And I dug my heels in. They brought in people, here's how low and underhanded this was. They brought in people, shut-ins, that I had been visiting. They brought in all these shut-ins to help vote me out that I had been visiting, and I had a great relationship with them. That's how underhanded it was. You had to have 75% to be retained every year. My last vote, I had 70%, which is still not that bad. If you're in a room and 7 out of 10 people like you, that's not too bad. So anyway, I got voted out of there, and that was a heartbreaking experience. But I tell you what, friends, all those situations that I've gone through in ministry, heartbreaking, tough, painful situations have made me stronger. They've tempered me. I've grown in wisdom through them. My faith has been made stronger. And then, being married 26 years, having 3 children and a church. And my first wife telling me in July of 2009, I don't want to do this anymore. And she packed up our daughters and moved to North Carolina. As I stand before you today, and you look at me, I don't know what you think you see, somebody that always seems happy and never knows what it's like to be hurt or what pain is like. I tell you, friends, I know what it's like. Just like you, I know what it's like to hurt. I know what it's like to have your heart broken so bad it literally feels like it's throbbing, and you feel like you have a sword in your soul, and it's just like somebody's turning it. I know what it's like to hurt. I know what it's like to be in pain. I know what it's like to stand in my backyard and just look at my house on Mercer Road and crying uncontrollably, the tears just flowing down my cheeks because my family wasn't there anymore. I know what it's like to hurt. When you go through painful situations in life that breaks your heart, it also helps you to grow in compassion. You become more of a compassionate person where you feel the needs and the hurts and the pains of others because your heart's been broken. There it is. Makes us more compassionate in life, going through these broken, hurtful, painful experiences in life. Here's the application, friends. This is the thought I'd like you to take with you today as you leave. That no one likes to experience difficult times in life. Painful. These fracturing experiences in life. But just as with the Apostle Paul, God can use them in our life to make us more effective for Him. I'll never forget, I was in the office many years ago. Rob Douglas, some of you guys remember Pastor Rob Douglas. He was pastoring over at the Christian Missionary Alliance Church. And he and I were talking. And this is after I got voted out of Crossroads. I said, Rob, I feel like I've been through a meat grinder. And he said, he looked at me and he smiled. And he said, well, as long as you come out as ground burger on the other side, something useful to God, and that's a good thing, isn't it? Sometimes we go through these meat grinder experiences in life, friends, where you feel like you've been through a meat grinder. Well, as long as you come out on the other side, ground burger for God, something God can use, then that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Praise the Lord. Let's all stand.